Going live.
You hear me?
I hear you, man.
All right. A little bit of a feedback there.
From me.
I can hear myself, but I think we'll be fine. I think we'll be okay.
I gotta change something here.
No, I think we're good. Where are you all sitting? Where are you sitting at today?
I'm sitting at the beach, but I'm getting ready to go underground.
Okay. Okay.
I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna go Julian Assange on us.
There you go.
We got
that sounds much better, Matt.
This is gonna be the first. This is gonna be the first week of the. I haven't named the pricing document yet. I've got it as the briefing, but I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go underground when I release the new free pricing module.
Well, your glasses made it sound all better, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, covers up half my face.
Well, cool. We'll just jump right into it if that's good. Welcome to Lunch with Lumbermen with Matt Lehman from Lehman's Lumber Guide, Ashley Buckle from Materials Exchange, Digital Marketplace, and Lumber, OSB, and Plywood. Matt and I go live every Thursday at noon to discuss what's going on in the industry, go over his guide that has a very strong following and is growing on a daily basis. We're glad to have Matt on. And Matt, I think I'll just jump right in and say you kind of been calling it really well all along. I had the guys on yesterday and we were talking about pricing, and I asked the question, did you guys think a month ago we all thought we'd be lower, but I go, did you think we'd be this low? And I think pretty much all of us said, yeah, not really, right? But things change so quickly. And the first thing I kind of did was I went through your briefing and read all your which, you know what, great synopsis of all the different species, right? So I kind of want to talk about a little of those and then go to whatever you wanted to chat about. But
yeah, that's good.
Southern Yellow Pine, and let's bring up while we're talking about this, the 12-month forecast, just so it's up there, because I took notes all through the pages I was reading of your report, which pretty darn good. So, Southern Yellow Pine, one thing I can't agree with you more on that. I mean, treaters, truss plants have probably run their inventory pretty low. They probably still are uncertain about what's coming next in Q4, but my gosh, I mean, I guess before I get into this, I'll sum it up with what everybody's told me. We know the economy is slowing and the froth may be off housing, right? This is what concerns me is everybody feels a bounce is coming, right? And
everybody's telling the same story, which is concerning.
If they keep telling me there's going to be a bounce coming, we're going to be higher in 3 months. I'm not disagreeing with any of that, but everybody's telling me that, right? So yeah, we're going to be higher. We're going to repeat what we did last 2 years.
Well, we may be higher in 3 months from the low, but we might not be higher than 3 months from today.
Yeah, good point. So Southern Yellow Pine, your synopsis was great, Matt. Treaters probably need to buy, and this is just me. That market has fallen so fast. I just looked at 2x6 yesterday, how much it's come off. Mm-hmm. It probably scares people. They're waiting for the other person to jump in and buy first, it seems like right now. And
that's like it always happens, like when you're $1,000, everybody says $700, I'm all in. Well, when it gets to be $700, you don't want it because there's plenty of it, and nobody else wants it either.
Yeah. So and generally people are waiting for a signal, and what that usually means is that they're not going to catch the bottom. They want to buy right when it turns, and we all know how hard that is to do. Usually, what happens in pine, some of the big trading houses come in and buy 100, 200 block trucks from a bunch of the treaters down there at $100 below print or $200 below print or 50 or whatever it is on species, item, lengths, and widths, and then go out and start pumping it, trying to raise the roof, right, as they say.
Right.
And then we get the little bounce. SPF, Eastern and Western Canada, the same thing. I think that demand in a slowing economy and other things have probably mitigated a little bit of that shipping problems, because obviously those prices are. Think about it, the prices are falling even though there's been some curtailments, right? And as we said a week ago, people don't curtail because of inventory.
It's never bullish.
Yeah,
never bullish.
Good point here in Hemfer in Western U.S. You basically said that's a premium to spruce, and I really don't have as much of a look into. We had Matt on yesterday, Beamer, and I think people are probably moving some of that Hemfer and Western U.S. stuff at a lot cheaper than the print prices probably tell us they're at.
Yeah, and it's probably going really locally too. It's not going all as far over the place as when you think about that, the cross market opportunities for things. There's so many cross market opportunities with Southern Pine being as cheap as it is, and it still isn't going there. Which you talk about what you mentioned just a minute ago is everybody's talking about they've got jobs they need to buy for, and everybody's calling for a bottom and for a bounce. And you're waiting for somebody to when the market's waiting for somebody to make it bounce, that indicates to me that they really don't need to buy. Because if people need to buy and they've got jobs that are sold from 30, 60 days ago, they got buttloads of money in it, and there's no reason to not buy it or not cover it. So I think the buy that everybody's talking about is that they're coming is they're expecting a bit of a speculative buy, because if you're waiting for the bottom and then for it to bounce, that's just a stupid way to cover your needs. That's not calling somebody stupid, but it's an idiotic way to go about your business of waiting for somebody to confirm to you that you haven't left any money on the table.
Matt told Beamer said something interesting from a mill perspective and a buyer's perspective and a consolidation perspective yesterday. Hopefully I sum up what he said correctly here. We're kind of in that part of the market right now where the C-suite at the mill is running the safe floor, where they're saying, I don't care, move the wood. And these big consolidated buyers on the buy side, the chains and all that, their people are saying, move the inventory off and don't buy as much, right? And it's a perfect storm for what we're seeing right now. But yeah, I think we have to remember too. Somebody mentioned this on Twitter the other day. There was a whole stream of this yesterday. A lot of these multifamily people have been buying on the way down in this.
They have,
and so they don't just sit and wait for this. Thanks to the Twitter lumber group, they were saying that a lot of the people that they do business with have been buying and putting counters in and buying all along in this market, if that makes sense.
Exactly. Yep. Yeah, they're not sitting there. Every multifamily guy that I know, or people that take the multifamily business, they're not sitting on all that lumber unbought. They bought it when they got the orders. They left maybe some of it hanging out there, but that stuff that's not needed for 6 months away. So there's no rush to buy that stuff. So I'm thinking we're not going to get the bounce everybody thinks we are.
Yeah, so let's bring up. Sorry, Jory, can you bring up the 12-month forecast? I wanted to go over that FDP with you one more time because I have a couple notes on here. You said the next major FDP is week 31, right? Which basically puts us right down where that arrow is, right? Right at the bottom.
Exactly. That's late August.
And there could be a midsummer July 4th bounce. What which. We saw what a 3-day weekend did to the market a couple of weeks ago, right? Those can usually be very, very telling.
Got 2.5 days of a 3-day weekend. Yeah.
So, but what am I missing here that could cause a big rally, right? I'm trying to get my head around. Why wouldn't we have something like we had last year, where we're a month off this time?
Well, we had it earlier last year. Remember, April was the big buy-in last time.
Yes.
But here's the thing: if you just look at the FTPs, those things are just looking at the statistical and historical accuracy. Those things they strike on the money, or within a plus or minus a week, 86% of the time. And we just called a miss at that week number. I got to get my Julian Assange glasses up, so I'm coming out of incognito. Wherever that red line was, the red arrow. But it should get back on track either at week number 31, that the one that's going to be the August low, or after the September surge, the FTP should get back on track. So that means either the down move is going to last longer right here, or the up move is going to last longer if it reverses early. And I'm kind of prone to believe that the down move is going to last longer through the summer than most people think it will, and we're going to get really, really underbought for the fall. But there's no reason to speculate and buy lumber right now for late summer business when you got to do it again in the fall. So I think our bigger run is going to be coming for the last green section is.
Yeah, no. So I had a note here. You have a new briefing format and free pricing beginning June 15th. Does that?
Yep. If you can show George, show the briefing page, just the front page, because I want to show you what's going to be offered and what's not. That's what the front page of the briefing is. Right now, I'm just holding out trying to find a name. That's why I got the Julian Assange look going. I didn't know if I was going to call it Lumber Leaks like WikiLeaks, or the Lumber Scouting Report, or something, or just maybe the first page of the briefing. But basically, that what you see right there is going to be free to the lumber industry. We're going to have it just, it's going to be, but if you just sign up for it, you can get it. We'll send it to you either PDF file or it's available through the website. But if you scroll, so for those, if they're the members, don't get your panties all in a wad, because what we're not going to show is the forecast, which you can look at the next page. You can see where the FTPs are broken down into when the next ones are coming, why it's going to happen, and what you should do about it. And so that's going to be, we're going to delve a little deeper into the FTPs, and then the final page will be a futures page. But that's going to be the change for the briefing, what the briefing is going to look like. So.
And let's just make it so the people that get this free briefing will get the number 2 Southern Yellow Pine, Southeast, Southwest, Canadian Eastern, Canadian Western.
Yeah, scroll back up to that, or if you will.
Yeah, dry hem fir pricing, green Doug fir, 7/16 OSB in 23/30 seconds. That pretty much covers 80% of a framing package, or a lot of it for sure.
Well, and here's what we're trying to do. I don't want this thing to be used as a guide to go out and get specific numbers, because I'm going to refer to them as price estimates. When you've got an area that's like the Southern Pine that goes from Alabama to Florida to Virginia, it's hard to say a 2x4 is worth something specific. There's just so much geographics and demographics that play into it. But what I want people to use this for is we show a plus or minus column where the prices of change have been up $50 or down $30 or up 100, down 100. But just we'll talk about the momentum of the market and what this. I'm not going to recommend strategies. That's not fair to the people that are paying for that information. But I am going to supply the market, the context of the market in both what's happening currently and what the prices are currently, just to keep things updated. I kind of feel like it's, like I said a couple of weeks ago, lumber's about the only thing in the industry or the world that you can't go out on a commodity and get a commodity price on without paying for it. And so we're gonna add a staff member that's going to do nothing but be our lumber specialist for finding out current market in context and indexes for prices, and offer that free to the industry starting the 15th.
A question, Matt. Let's just jump over to housing for a second. Mortgage rates or refinancing and mortgage rates have seemed to come off quite a bit. Talking to a few of my friends that I know in the home building industry, the one thing that they keep coming up with and saying is we have a big backlog of homes, and I think we know they do because we see that in the permits and starts versus completions, right?
Yeah, no shock.
So we know there's a backlog, but a lot of people are saying there's such a big backlog that's very bullish. And I mean, I guess I agree there's a lot of homes to build, but my question is, once those are built, that 6-month backlog is built, what happens next then, right? And I guess I don't have a crystal ball or magic, I might as well shake a magic 8 ball on that.
For some reason, the builders think that every house they have sold is a solid deal. But when you get interest rates jacked up another 50 basis points, and I think the potential we could go 3/4 points just for the Fed to step in and say, look, I really want to pull back on the reins and reel you guys in to stop spending. But they're gonna slow us and stop us, and us meaning home buyers and framing package suppliers and market analysts and exchange platforms. Everybody's got to slow their business down, and that's a really critical time for business management as well. Just because when the market's falling and there's going to be a lot of uncertainty when people are starting to talk about the market's ready for a bounce right now, and to a person, it's somebody that wants to get an order from you. It's somebody that's talking a position. If you just get realistic about what's going on in the economy, the reason LBM dealers and treaters and truss manufacturers aren't building inventories because they see that the business after this little inventory fill in just isn't there.
Right. So I agree. So what I'm trying to you and I lived through that 2005 to 2011. 2 million homes to 500,000 homes. Everybody's telling me there's no way we drop to 500,000 homes again, and I agree with that. But do we go back to 2 million homes in the next 2 years? I mean,
I don't know if we need to. We went for how long? I mean, we talked about this before. We went for 10 years to get to the point that we were underbuilt doing 1.2 million. So why do we all of a sudden? What's the rush to get all of a sudden get this 1 million or whatever the 10, I've heard anywhere from 1 million to 10 million homes that were underbuilt. What's, I mean, I don't see people living under the bridges. And how many, what was it you that was telling me, asking me how many the second homes there were in the country?
Yeah, I think I told you we were talking about,
10
I think something
million?
like 10 million second homes. And it's amazing
Yeah.
too how many home deals in the last few months in many of the places in the US have been done on cash, all cash deals, right? And I saw a
Yeah.
stat the other day about somebody said how many tens of thousands of homes were owned by 4 people in the Atlanta market, by 4
Hey.
private companies, right?
Yeah.
So
Are they rental companies?
yeah. So I'm trying to figure out how are we different this time? Everything's always different, right? And we're in a real crazy market right now. We had a lot of money sloshing around. The government's trying to slow things down. I can only take them for what they say they're going to do. If they want to slow things down, they're going to slow things down. It's starting to show up, right? So I
Yeah.
can't I can't fathom seeing how we're going to build all those unless housing is completely immune from, I guess we could say it, from a recession. you know,
And I'll tell you what, everybody should do this. Everybody should get on Zillow and make a profile of looking for a house in your own city of a 2,500 square foot home, 3 bedroom, 2 bath, backyard, fence, dog pen, all that kind of stuff, whatever you want for a home, and then pick some place for a resort that you want to go to, and watch and see what's happening to the prices of homes in your markets, as if you were trying to buy a house just pick a few locations that's desirable to the markets that you work in, and every place, almost every place. I've got 3 of those places that I look at. Is like, one is the North Carolina beaches, the mountains of North Carolina, and the Charlotte area of North Carolina, and I watch what homes are, and prices are getting cut drastically. They're just, I mean, I'm talking like $420,000 homes getting cut 60 and 80 bucks, 60, 80 bucks a thousand, 60, 80. I'm talking number talk there, 60 to $80,000. But it just comes in bulk. It's like you look at a street, like a builder's guide, and all of a sudden that street's just on sale. And
yeah,
there's
it's crazy
more of
'cause
that around.
I'm not seeing that in my area yet around Chicago. Matter of fact, there's still multi bids on homes, and they're
Well, it's
moving
happening
before.
it's happening in the
Yeah,
South.
look at. I'm not saying I can just say is sometimes we're a product of what we see around us, right? And I see that,
Exactly.
and I'm like, oh my gosh, it's incredible because I went and looked at a house 2 weekends ago, and it was sold the same day we walked through it by multiple bids. So it could just be the little area that I'm in that's happening, and maybe not in other areas, right? Because then you go
It
down to the
probably is,
city.
and it
Yeah.
probably is happening in some in other areas too. This which gives us mixed signals, because it's happening some places, and in other places it's almost getting distressed already. So they're kind of both ends of the spectrum, and people tend to talk about what they see or what they're around.
One thing we talked about yesterday, and it was a good conversation. Home center business. We talked to some of the people, boots on the ground, that actually shipped to there, and they said it's not like it was last year, right? Matt Beamer actually said the one interesting thing is there's a lot more dimension lumber going than studs. That, which I thought was interesting, right? But he goes, as far as it seems to me from the 10 people I talk to that are live in that world, is, it seems like it's still good, but it's nothing like it was on the takeout over the last few years. And I guess that makes
Yeah,
sense, right?
yeah. If you think about everything that they sell, is, I mean, the lumber just,
For sure.
it's 3 rows on the end of a 30-row store, and the parking lot's full, and people are dragging out light bulbs and rugs and lamps, and the building supply end of the business isn't all they've got. But just because the parking lot looks full, they say, yeah, our sales are good. I don't necessarily think that means that their lumber framing
Well,
packages are going.
I think sales are still good. I mean, the one thing is I love all the different little lumber yards. I grew up in one and all that, but it seems to be the home centers can adjust prices quicker, like we said, just because of the world they live in with the VMI programs. And I think in these volatile markets, sometimes that can help them gain some market share, right? Well, but back to your point too on small lumber yards. A person asked me the other day where lumber was going to be in 3 months because they want to build a house, and I'm like, you know what? That's like touching the third rail in the tracks answering that question. I have no idea. I mean, we've sold off so hard. If you're probably wanting to buy a lumber package at this time, at this point, is probably my advice was go to 5 different people, small, medium, and large, and get 5 different bids, because you're probably going to get a whole different you're probably going to get a pretty big different number from everyone, depending upon how they bought their lumber, right?
Well, think about this. I mean, at the peak of the when it was at its worst, framing packages were almost $80 a square foot for a framing package. Now they're like 20. So what difference does it make if it's going to be a little bit higher in 3 months or a little bit lower? I mean, we've already wiped off the hard part. So I think lumber prices are not a deterrent to home building right now. If you're waiting for lower lumber prices to buy a house, you're probably not going to build a house.
Yeah, that's my thought too. That's a hard question to answer because there's, and I have a neighbor doing a big remodel job, and the fact is they're having a hard time getting labor to do it, and the person doing the remodel job is buying all the lumber themselves, so it's included in there. So this person building it, the framers, is saying, "Hey, if I'm going to do this, you're going to pay my price on lumber. You're not going to get my labor too, right?" So there's a lot of
but that's really not a fear factor right now. I mean, it's
right.
not. Starling is, okay, you can't hurt me with that. But here's a good example of a couple of things that are going on. In our inner circle group, there's a guy that's building some homes, but he's having to wait 8 months for brick. We talked about this a couple of weeks ago. He said he can't do his framing packages until he backs up from his brick when he's going to have his brick on. And he's expecting his framing packages are going to be in October, just when he's going to get his brick. My wife just was this morning looking for a plumber to take care of a plumber emergency at her hair salon place. And I heard the plumber lady on the phone says, "We're booked out till October the 14th for a freaking plumber to come out and fix your toilet."
Yeah, there's a lot of that going on. Don Humphrey was asking, do duties on Canadian lumber change if prices fall below mill costs?
Don knows that answer.
Oh, okay. What's the answer?
Well, the answer is the price of the timber is based on what the selling price of the 2x4s are.
Yeah, no, but he was asking on the Canadian duty coming across the border, and I've got to go. Selling the lumber coming across the border. I'm not sure how that formula works. Do you know what I'm saying?
Duty,
it's not a
yeah,
law.
I think that the duty's the duty. It's either there. It's not. It's got nothing to do with whether the mills are breaking even or not.
Yeah, well, to check that out, Don. It's a good question. I think Matt's right on that one. I got to go look. They've changed that formula so many times in my life. I've got to go see what it is. But it's interesting. Where is the cost of production? And the real thing is, everybody was waiting for a bounce around the cost of production. Okay, let's say the cost of production is 600. That doesn't mean we can't go to 200, right?
Yeah, because we've done it before. That's exactly right.
Yeah, and like Riley was saying yesterday, hey, the volatility may come out. We'll probably trade on either side of the cost of production for the next, year or so. He actually came out and said the best 2 years of the industry, of the lumber trading industry, is probably behind us for the time being.
Yeah, and for Don also, if you think about the whole purpose of the duty was to try to level the playing field, and the idea was that the Canadians were getting unfair subsidized advantage for timber, which basically means the U.S. mills wanted the Canadian mills to be not making as much money or not making any money. So when you get below cost, I mean, this isn't going to. I'm glad I got my Julian Assange gear on because it's not going to make me any friends. But the American lumber, what's the name? The coalition. The name changes every once in a while, but the Coalition for Lumber Imports, whatever it is, they delight in the fact that the Canadians are not making money. So they're not going to be free to go, "Oh, I'm sorry, you guys aren't making any money. We'll lighten up on the duties a little bit for you." That's not going to happen.
John Eshelman was saying it used to be based on pricing. Yes, it was. It had like 3 tiers, I think, John. But I believe it's changed. And again, I don't want to make a comment on that. We'll try to have that answer for you next time, or I'll get it for you because
yeah, I'm not sure either.
I'll have to go through and look up the duties. I've got like 30 pages on that. I review every now and then to see what they are. Yeah, SLA, Softwood Lumber Agreement. Exactly. Well, cool. Anything else you want to cover today, Matt? If not, we'll.
I think that's it. I just think I think there's no reason to think no reason to panic for the market to run away and get away from us anytime soon. It's just we're into a soft spot and for good reasons, and we're not gonna just rapidly turn and snap out of it.
Yeah, appreciate it. So again, if you want to sign up for Matt Layman's Lumber Guide, you can email Matt, and you can email Matt at laymansguide.com. That's Matt at Layman's.
Actually, we're going to have a link out when we get the once we finalize the name of the free page. It'll be out within the next week for everybody to have a sign up page for that as well.
And to sign up on Materials Exchange, where we had over 400 trucks up yesterday, I should that's fabricating. There's 360 trucks.
Liar.
Yeah. I was gonna push myself. I caught myself in my own brain there. Go to mxlumber.com. Go to and register. Register on the link, and we'll have you up buying and selling. We basically ask for what locations you want to buy from and or sell from. And you're up and running in no time. We've had over 50 people just sign up in the last few weeks here. Here, Jack. Here's another one from Jack Wilkins. Hey, Jack, I don't want to leave you out on that one. The challenge with looking at price in a single home in a market is you don't know the condition of the home. People are also taking Zillow's price as law. It's usually high. Therefore, they overprice their home and listing it. Yeah, totally agree, Jack. And like I say, I can only look at the little area I'm in and hear little anecdotal, is that the correct conversations from other people? But to me, it seems like I haven't seen anything really come off yet. Matt said he's seen some in his area in the Carolinas, but again, are those coming off of nosebleed numbers that nobody would have got anyway?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's true. That's a good point.
And I think that's maybe what Jack is saying here. I know my wife and I were talking about listing ours at one point, and if what I would have asked for it was significantly higher than it would have traded at, because that's just how I felt, right? And
they owe it to you.
Yeah, I feel they. In Chicago, we just literally got back to 2004 numbers, so we haven't had those frothy Florida and Texas markets yet. We're just back to the price we were like 15 years ago. Well, cool, Matt. I appreciate everything. Looking forward to doing it again next Thursday. And again, sign up with Matt or with Materials Exchange. And as users, we love having you come here. If you're not a user, we still love having you come here, giving you information. But Matt and I, we hope if we're giving you value, you actually sign up for what we do, our products, and support us so we can keep these programs coming to you. So again, have a great weekend, and everybody, and I hope a great rest of your week, and we'll talk soon.
Thanks, guys. Have a good day.